Around the world, tropical rainforests are vanishing rapidly. At present rates, Indonesia will be locked out in 10 years. Much of West Africa's rainforests are already destroyed. And in Brazil, alone in 2019, up to 1 million hectares of rainforest were eradicated. This all happens in full awareness of their importance for global climate. But one place seems to be different: the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. A small country, but one of Earth's greatest rainforest nations. Still, its uncharted forests are echoing with the sounds of nature. How long will this magic bird still spread its wings in the green heart of Guyana? Iwokrama and GIZ, the German Agency for International Cooperation, may hold the key to its survival. Somewhere, a green heart tree is harvested. It's a common species in Guyana, but grows nowhere else on Earth. How can harvesting this tree be a way to save the rainforests of the world? How can it guarantee a future for the harpy eagle, the epitome of undisturbed forests? The key is to use the forest without losing it. In this endeavor, Iwokrama is supported by CATS, the Regional Caribbean Aqua-Terrestrial Solutions Program of GIZ, the German Agency for International Cooperation. The collaboration started already in 2014, when Iwokrama asked for assistance in their struggle to protect the rich forests by sustainable use. Sparsely populated, they had been a wilderness for generations. Red-faced spider monkeys are only one of the many endemics in this region of South America. While only 7% of the Earth's landmass is covered by rainforests, 90% of the species are found here, and all depend on the forest. Solutions are needed to protect their home, but there is no simple answer. As early as 1989, the government of Guyana and Commonwealth joined forces. Their objective? Finding ways to conserve the forest while using it for social and economical benefit. 371,000 hectares, right in the center of Guyana, have been declared a nature reserve. So Guyana gifted its green heart to the world. A living laboratory with a mission. Find ways how it can be used to generate benefits. The Iwokrama International Centre for Rainforest Conservation and Development was born, and along with it, the Iwokrama River Lodge was built. From the very beginning, local indigenous communities partnered with Iwokrama. While tourism started in the early days with the River Lodge and later the Otter Lodge, forestry needed more consideration. Consequently, the focus then was to zone the forest into a wilderness preserve and a sustainable utilization area. After a first trial of sustainable forest management under FSC certification ended in 2011, a next approach was made in 2016. This time with private sector partners who brought commercial experience and capital, and supported by GIZ's Caribbean Aqua-Terrestrial Solutions Program. Crucial for the success was the FSC certification, which opened international timber markets for Iwokrama. This teaming concept created a win-win situation, assuring local people a livelihood while protecting the natural resources. More than 70% of Iwokrama remains untouched. Only the light green areas are used sustainably. And just in the small red sector, sustainable FSC certified forestry is conducted.
My name is Linz Lagadu. I'm currently working for the Iwokrama International Centre as a consultant. The map that's got the zoning, that we do the zoning, this is the whole of Iwokrama concession, 371,000 hectares. Okay, this is Green Heart number 43. This has been selected to be cut as it's have more than 6 meter bow length. It's sound. We'll get a proper recovery when it's been cut in the sawmill. And then we give it to the guys. They cut the skid trails and they mark all the trees with an X to indicate this tree is to be sawn, right? And then we mark the protected tree, which one we need to be protected, which one we will cut. We have to monitor the joint venture company very closely to make sure they follow our plan. We don't cut all at very small size, just depending on the growth size or the tree size, then we take it. We decide now with the silviculture rate and the growth rate of the trees, then we take it. So we know Green Heart don't go to this huge size like Purple Heart, then we cut it at DBH like 45 cm. We know Purple Heart go to a huge size, then we take it from 70 cm upwards. So all 6 to 9, or what the case might be, we'll have back for some other time, for the future generation, in another 60 years. Protecting the rainforest is one, but then you could benefit from it too, right? So a tree will only grow to a certain size, and then it will die. So before it dies, we could actually get something could benefit the community, ourselves, and everybody else around us.
In his computerized maps, Linsford records all his knowledge collected by latest technology. He then forwards his instructions to the partner company loggers. The white line marks the direction in which the tree has to fall to minimize damage. It was marked by the Iwokrama inventory team when selected. Iwokrama supervises all activities in their concession. All forestry is conducted in accordance with the rules of Guyana Forestry Commission and FSC regulations. Producing FSC-certified woods helps Iwokrama to maintain its commitment to maximized health and safety regulations. While Iwokrama holds the FSC certificates for forest management, its partner organization holds the chain of custody certificate.
So you can go ahead and put on a tag. This is the orange tag. This here is the F number, the felon number. This here is the GFC tag number. If you notice the number is here, it's also there. This is the block number, and this is the tree number. So, accountability, paper trail kind of thing. This is the stump tag. This is the tree tag with the tree number as well on it.
There is a vested interest to pay special attention to the clear assignment of the origin of the wood. For this, they must follow the strict rules of the Guyana Forestry Commission and FSC. Through the chain of custody, they are able to prove seamlessly the origin of the product, from the log to the market. The FSC certification opens up markets worldwide, especially for the Green Heart, which is well known for its durable use in marine applications, for which there exists a strong demand. The Green Heart trees are ready to be transported by skidder to the marketplace, an assembly point where the logs are stored and cut to length. Finally painted and labeled, the logs are ready to be loaded. Every piece of lumber and every step is accurately recorded to comply with FSC requirements. Finally, these logs are on their way to the sawmill. To minimize damage, nothing is left to chance, but planned systematically from the very outset. The number of trucks that may run the dirt road, the skidder paths, or which tree is harvested, Iwokrama is guiding all activities.
We want to minimize the creek crossing. We don't want to disturb the waterways and different things. And if you could look here now, we have a buffer zone for the creek. 20-meter buffer zone, we cannot harvest within that. So all creeks have the 20-meter buffer zone. After this process, I can take the maps, look at it, and I will plan the skid trail and the roads. We hand this over to McVantage, and they will follow our plan. You're working by my plan. If anything out of the way, then you come to me, and then I fix it.
The support by GIZ through the Caribbean Aqua-Terrestrial Solutions program made it happen, using the forest without losing it. In Iwokrama, it seems to work. Within a few years, the forest regains lost territory and nature's self-healing powers start to work. When a tree falls, light touches the ground for the first time for years. Rays of sunlight cause seeds to sprout and grow. The forest rejuvenates naturally. Sprouting greens soon lure herbivores to the glade. Here they find more food than in the dark forest. Small gaps are no problem for rainforest recovery. On the contrary, they are bursting with life. Generally, it's considered critical to open the forest cover, but if at least 80% remain intact, the forest will grow back in less than 30 years. Iwokrama's 60 years cutting cycle gives the forest time to recover. For centuries, indigenous people practiced a similar principle applying shifting cultivation. The forests we consider to be pristine are often nothing else than forests that have recovered over a long period from sustainable farming by indigenous people. Indigenous people still burn off a piece of forest as farm. As soon as it cools down, they start to plant cassava, their traditional dish. Cassava is the third largest source of food carbohydrates in the tropics, providing a basic diet for over 500 million people. Today, archaeologists can trace prehistoric settlements for many places in Iwokrama. The basic principle is that when the thin humus layer and the nutrients contained in the ash are exhausted after some years, the field is given back to the forest. People move on, and a new plot will be cleared. Cassava is still staple food for the local people, and they still prepare it in their traditional way. Skillful preparation is necessary. If not squeezed and cooked properly, it might cause cyanide intoxication. Cassava preparation has influenced the indigenous cultures of South America. Many legends of Makushi, Wapishana and Arawak associate with cassava and its products. Guyana's rainforests have been used for a very long time. Petroglyphs found at many places along the rivers prove this. Some are as old as 8,000 years. All the time, the forests provided fresh water, wild fruits, firewood, herbal medicines, and building materials too. After some years, the forest clearing is no longer visible. The dense forests of Guyana are a good example how forests can regenerate if handled with care and given enough time. Meanwhile, the logs from the log market in the forest arrive at the sawmill compound. Each log has still its unique ID label and can be retraced to its logging site. There is no mixing with non-FSC woods, and all is high-value timber like Green Heart, Purple Heart or Vamaradan. Thanks to FSC certification, most of it will be sold abroad. To optimize control and to maximize profit, the logs are cut in the sawmill within Iwokrama forest. These wooden planks are Green Heart. They will resist weather conditions without chemical treatment, so they are a very green solution indeed. The boards are transported to the capital city, Georgetown, and further on to international markets. The wood retains its identification labels until it has reached its final destination somewhere in Europe or North America.
My name is Brian Agustin. I'm from North Rupununi, Region 9, Masara Village. I signed the contract as the bundle clerks. I'm looking after three main things. I'm looking after scaling, plus the trucking were going to Georgetown, the bundling were coming out from the mill. I doing everything, calculation, everything with this company, with Iwokrama International Centre. So I get employed through Iwokrama, so basically on my performance, I did with the contract and I still holding on with this work. I enjoy the work and things.
He keeps control for Iwokrama, and once more meticulous reports are kept of all woods leaving the sawmill. The sustainable FSC-certified forestry brings jobs, income and livelihoods for the local people. Still another 300 kilometers are to go before the certified Iwokrama timber reaches its destination in the capital city of Georgetown. Iwokrama's forest management achievements are a poster child approach. It successfully demonstrates that tropical rainforests can be used economically for the good of local people, and still their biodiversity can be conserved and protected. The sustainable used rainforest in Iwokrama is worth more alive than dead. This stands in stark contrast to the widespread destruction of tropical rainforests in other regions. This is why GIZ implemented Caribbean Aqua-Terrestrial Solutions Program supported Iwokrama when they asked for assistance. Only through FSC certification is it possible to sell the valuable timber from the Green Heart of Guyana to US and European markets. The 60 years harvesting cycle allows for the forest to be a valuable source of income for many generations.
Like I said, we do on the bark measurement.
Therefore, local communities are interested to learn more about the forestry approach of Iwokrama.
71, 73, that's the diameter 1, diameter 2, right? This side.
Through special training, people from Fairview learn how to calculate the volume of wood a tree may hold.
Two point two.
It's 6.2 length.
6 point.
Pretend it on the side.
The bigger one. 16. So it'll be 16 for the last.
Multiply that by 0.0001.
And then you multiply it again by...
The increasing awareness about the value of their natural resources is the guiding force.
As I noticed some people cutting log. Yeah. So I didn't see how much log they gone with. Michelle told me it's a set of logs, she said. I really don't know if it come from that section or it come from the river. I wasn't able to see.
So you want to be able to monitor that?
Yeah.
Ranger Dorothy.
Iwokrama is no island in time or space. Therefore, monitoring of its borders is of utmost importance. One issue is the road through Iwokrama. It is the only road connecting Guyana's north and south. The first ferry at 6 a.m. brings the bulk of vehicles. Concession police and rangers control where vehicles access or leave the reserve. Vehicles and persons entering are registered and expected to leave the reserve within a few hours passing the opposite checkpoint. The rivers bordering Iwokrama have to be guarded too. This unit is on a special mission. Iwokrama Rangers, the mining authority, and police join forces to follow up a report on illegal mining right at the border of Iwokrama. Nobody knows what to expect. Are the miners still there? Will they attack? Illegal mining is a new and disturbing development. They leave clearly visible traces. They had been searching for nuggets, but now the camp is deserted. The rangers will keep patrolling to prevent further destruction, as found across the river right outside of Iwokrama. Dr. Raquel Thomas Caesar from Iwokrama.
This has been going on for a few months, and many of the miners have left, but there's still a few that keep coming back. And what we're finding now, and what we've been finding since April, they've been bouncing over to the Iwokrama site and doing illegal mining. on that side. It's illegal to mine in the Iwokrama forest. There is a 1-year possibility of a sentence or 100,000 fine. So anyone found mining in the Iwokrama forest will be apprehended and arrested.
To fight trespassers causing destruction like this is the next severe challenge Iwokrama has to face. Ultimately, the forest can only survive if local communities appreciate that the rainforest is their future, which must be protected. The Zaki has found a fruiting palm tree. Like many other species, this monkey can only be found in the forest of the Guyana Shield. They thrive on the palm fruits of the maripa palm. This tree grows preferably on old farm sites or other spots featuring secondary forests. It's one of the major fruit-producing plants. Quite often, secondary forests provide more food than a pristine forest and therefore attract more wildlife. The Zaki must be cautious not to attract the attention of the harpy. Even agoutis are aware of the danger from above. They bury seeds as supply and forget about it, thus helping to regrow the forest. With their strong teeth, they can even open Brazil nuts. Peccaries, on the other hand, only chew up the nuts and seeds and destroy them. The abundance of green foliage and fruits feed the herbivores. Botanical surveys of the Iwokrama rainforest in central Guyana have yielded more than 1,250 species of plants so far. And with the plant eaters come the carnivores. Although the harpy is considered a species of pristine forests, it appreciates a piece of secondary forest in its neighborhood. It seems that the expanse of the woodland is more important than the tree species in it. Destruction of its natural habitat and clear cuts have caused the harpy to vanish from many parts of its former range, and it's nearly extinct in Central America because of massive logging. In Guyana, the harpy is still frequently found. It is known to live in areas where sustainable forestry is practiced. With 3 active nesting sites, harpy eagles are still frequent in and around Iwokrama. Generally, Iwokrama is famous for its wildlife and appreciated by birders. More than 130 species of mammals, more than 500 species of birds, more than 420 species of fish are just a few numbers that demonstrate abundance of nature in this part of the world. So Iwokrama is more than just a poster child approach to sustainable forestry. Protection of natural resources and diversified sustainable land use are the best ways to face climate change and provide a future for local people. An Iwokrama worker on her way to work. Since its It is an important employer in the region. Many employees live in nearby Fairview village, while others come from farther away and stay their whole shift at the field station. The lodge consists of 8 guest cabins at the riverbank, additional rooms for researchers and students, a bar, 2 shops and a boat jetty, and right in the centre, the Fred Ellicock House with offices, training rooms and a top-level restaurant.
I'm Michael Patterson. I'm the tourism manager, a former forest ranger by profession. Been working with Iwokrama over a number of years. More recently, 3 years as the tourism manager. My main responsibility is to ensure that guest satisfactions are met and we deliver our services to the highest level. Specifically, we ensure that all the service links are in place. For example, our kitchen, our meals, the services there, the bar area, our accommodation, the boat movements, the vehicle movements, the guides are in place, and all the links are ready as when the tour would have come to execute such. We are expecting a group not too long from now. I'll be taking you over to the accommodation just to do the necessary backup checks to ensure a simple thing as a fan, that the fan is working, the toilets are in tip-top position, the washroom is clean and ready to receive the guests, hammocks are out there, and to double check to ensure that the guest comfort are in place and ready for delivery of service.
Mike is assisted by tour guide Marcy Johnny.
I am Marcy Johnny from Karasabay Village, Region 9, and I am working with Iwokrama River Lodge as a tour guide, and I've been working with the company for 5 years.
Guys, this is Marcy. Hello, Marcy. Michael.
Welcome to Iwokrama.
You're going to be working
Michael,
with us.
yes.
Yeah.
Nature lovers visit Iwokrama to see wildlife and birds.
Experience with this.
Most of them stay a few days in the comfortable riverside cabins. They spend their days hiking forest trails or exploring the Iwokrama forest, guided by Marcy and her colleagues. River trips are also one of the tourists' favorites. Safely packed and guided, they set out to spot wildlife along the banks of the Essequibo River, because life concentrates along the rivers. It requires good vision and training to spot birds and animals in the dense vegetation.
Oh, that's the Amazon kingfisher right there. Yeah, and then still have the Kapingos over there. Oh, here comes the children. Yeah, right here.
What is not moving may easily escape the eye.
Yeah, with the yellow belly.
Iwokrama offers numerous hiking trails and longer trips, like the Turtle Mountain Experience, a combination of boat trip and hiking through the forest. Some tourists comment to Marcy on the forestry practiced by Iwokrama. Then she explains the objectives of Iwokrama from her point of view. As an indigenous woman, she sees the problem that protection alone, without the support of local communities, will not work for long.
Really?
Yeah.
Now it's a bit of a dry season.
Yeah, now we're going into dry season.
The rich wildlife will only survive if local people benefit from it. Then it is worth alive more than timber. In the end, most visitors appreciate the effort of Iwokrama, she says. Marcy loves to share her traditional knowledge.
It's, we also call it non-timber forest production, the lady. So up in the dining area, those chairs, they're made out from the lady.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ascent to Turtle Mountain may be an uphill struggle, but you'll be on top of the world once you reach there. Iwokrama's forest is divided in two zones: the Sustainable Utilization Area for sustainable forestry, research and tourism, and the Protected Area called the Wilderness Preserve. All human activities take place in the Sustainable Utilization Area, which covers only 30% of the forest. More than 70% is set aside for conservation purposes. The Canopy Walkway at Otter Lodge is another tourist highlight. It opens treetops to the visitors. A habitat full of mystery, where 90% of the forest fauna exists, normally out of humans' reach. Biologists call it the rainforest's powerhouse. Many rainforest animals have evolved to live solely in the canopy and never touch the ground. Like the red-faced spider monkey, it is a habitat specialist with a preference for pristine forests. Guyana houses many groups of this shy primate. Like the harpy eagle, it is a canopy creature. Harpy eagles like the territory in and around Iwokrama, as their nesting sites are close together. They possess the largest claws of any living eagle. They have been recorded lifting prey up to equal their own body weight. That allows these birds to snatch monkeys and sloth from trees. Besides tourism, science and training are important activities too. Not only Sion George comes regularly to collect data.
So this in my hand is what you call a soil respiration core. This is the ECG, which is infrared gas analyzer. So this machine now will measure the amount of CO2 that is being exchanged within this closed chamber.
The data he's collecting finds its way into international climate and CO2 studies of Boise State University in USA and Oxford University in the United Kingdom. Sion George sees the forest with trees, air and floor as a living organism that may be already affected by rising temperatures.
So some of the information required will be the time of the day that we take this reading. We take a CO2 reference from the machine.
If the CO2 metabolism of the forest changes, there is a danger that it might turn from a CO2 sink to a source of CO2. Iwokrama works very closely with nearby indigenous communities. It has signed collaborative management and benefit sharing agreements. The land around Iwokrama belongs to indigenous communities. Nestled within Iwokrama is the indigenous village of Fairview.
Everybody stop there, stop there. There's a harpy over here, there's a harpy over here. The scope. So everybody look on the branch. You see the branch over there? Yeah. So here, you could start with this. So just get the scope on the harpy. So everybody on the harpy? Yeah, the harpy have a black head and a long beak. That's a strange harpy.
In the Junior Wildlife Club, children are being taught how valuable their natural environment is. Most indigenous people live a traditional life, dependent on subsistence agriculture. Iwokrama's endeavors afford them a regular income, and it helps them preserve their indigenous language, history, and culture. The communities have sovereignty of their land, so they are an important partner when it comes to nature conservation. And it is the support of GIZ implemented Caribbean Aqua-Terrestrial Solutions program that makes sustainable progress happen. Already we feel the impacts of climate change. Rainforests are essential for our future. Their biodiversity, their ability to regulate climate and water cycle, the CO2 they can store, home to indigenous people, all these are good reasons to protect them. Therefore, German Development Corporation, through GIZ and CATS, supports the endeavors of Iwokrama International Centre for Rainforest Conservation and Development, and is keen to scale up Iwokrama's best practice timber model as a master plan for other regions, ensuring the future of vital communities.